there is such a fine line in between living from your mind and living from your heart. And sometimes we live from our mind for years and years and years, and we don't realize how miserable we are. And then when we start living from our heart is when we realize, oh wow, I didn't know that I was living from my mind with all this anxiety of the past, of the future, of feeling insecure, feeling secure, feeling all kinds of ways that we don't realize that we do. And then you start living from the heart, and all of a sudden everything feels beautiful. The moments you have with your cats feel beautiful. You appreciate the fuzzy feeling on your face when you kiss them. You appreciate the food you eat, every bite. You appreciate the moments you have with people because you know that this happened now doesn't mean that it's going to happen again. And sometimes some moments, some conversations are something that you remember again and again. And it gives you that inspiration, motivation, right? Because sometimes people say some significant things in such casual ways that we don't realize until we think about it again and again later. But again, when you still start living from your heart, the line is so thin to now go back to the mind, because that is what is familiar, right? And I find that it takes a daily practice, if not practice every moment of the day, to come back to heart and not go to your mind, because your mind is so fragile. Your mind is basically your ego, and whether it comes from the place of I feel better than others or I feel worse than others, it doesn't matter. Low self-worth manifests both ways. Low self-esteem manifests both ways. Cocky confidence or a lack of one, it manifests both ways, and both are a place of misery because they're so fragile. Very, very fragile. But when you live from your heart, it's not fragile. It's as fragile as it sounds to live from the heart. It is so strong, and it is so clear, and it is also abundant. It also makes you a bit more happier, a bit more present, a bit more mindful, and a bit more joyful. So living within the heart and continuing to live from a heart-based consciousness is not an easy task to do, obviously, but also a daily task to do, which is why I find that meditation becomes important, which is why spending time with yourself becomes important. And even though we do so, I do so, but still, when sometimes you miss the workout for more than 2 days, and then you start off suddenly living in your mind, and you realize that you're living in your mind, and all of a sudden, you're just why do I feel so fragile? And then you realize, you've shifted into your mind. Now let's go back to your heart. But to live within your heart also requires you to be aware of your body. And for that awareness, you need to move your body. And not always easy. And although when you are continuously moving your body every day, it feels like it's possible every day. But not every day is the same day. And sometimes moving your body feels a lot harder than when you're used to moving your body. Because life isn't the same. We don't feel the same every day. We feel differently every day. Our thoughts are different every day depending on our environment, things we go through, the reflections we have, or sometimes even like the shame and guilt that we carry that we don't realize creeps in so slowly. And that is itself is a lot of like everyday work to keep the guilt and shame out of your way. And when you have those guilt and shame come in, sometimes creeping so slowly, then you go into your mind, right? So coming back to your heart and living from this space of heart every day is a very intentional task that you have to do every day, every moment of the day. Otherwise, it slips so fast until you realize that you're completely living in your mind and you're so miserable. It is truly a slippery slope. And I think which is why sometimes we will see people when their external circumstances change, or sometimes fame or recognition or whatever external it is, like they go into their mind and ego and then they slip away and we see them change in front of us. But the goal is to not let that change us within. And to be and to live within, you have to go within every day, every moment of the day. It truly is a grounding and humbling experience to live from a heart-based consciousness and to actively work on that every day.